This is Joyce. It's another week, and certainly every week we see change. Change, actually, that we can be proud of. There's a lot going on in science, and for that I'm thankful. In fact, I saw a NASA film of Pluto. Used to be the farthest planet in our solar system. Now it's not so much of a planet anymore as a round sphere, but it's got a lot of gases that are in solid form, and we can look at it and we can analyze it, and we are. We're also discovering that lasers may be able to deflect lightning, so it won't be so dreadful to us, and it won't land on our homes. I think Ben Franklin would have been impressed. He came up with the lightning rod, and it's taken us almost 200 years to get to something that may be a little better, and absolutely equally, if not more precise. So science moves on. Our whole life is one that evolves around the internet. I'm even using books on Apple Books or Kindle. I always used to value my library, and you can see the books behind me. I've collected books all my life, and now I'm wondering, is it not more humane to just download it and read it right on my iPad? And probably a lot of you do that too. And if not, you might want to have the ability to have an iPad. And I think everyone should have that ability. Every school child should have a tablet of some sort that they can call their own, and they can read the world's treasures right there in front of them without having to lug around some heavy book. I think that's a revelation. What's happened in our society is revelatory. But there are other revelations that make me kind of sit back and wonder, what are we doing? You know, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but not all the people all of the time. And what's happening now is too many Americans are being fooled. Too many Americans are being shortchanged when it comes to education. And that's a pity, because it means that you're only educated enough for low-paying jobs. Not that the system is so great for everyone who's got a college education. It may not be, because as we can see, a lot of the technology companies are letting go of thousands of people when we know we should be hiring, not firing. So what is the reason that a lot of this is happening? Why are Americans being squeezed? Well, it all comes down to corporates, philosophy, and corporate greed. What do I mean? Well, we've got those H-1B1 visas. And I understand that in our universities, 40 to 45% of all the kids in the STEM subjects and getting advanced degrees in science, they're not American kids. They're from out of our country. And they go back to their countries and they make their countries prosperous, whereas our kids are not even given the chance to learn the STEM subjects that are so important to our society. If we want to save our planet, we're going to come up with alternate ways to heat our planet, to cool our planet, to get resources from our planet. And that is not just native smarts. It's also creating new food products, new grains, new wheats, new rice, potatoes, whatever we need so that we can adapt to the new way of life. In Rotterdam, they've got floating cities of farms, and they're layered like factories are layered or apartment houses are layered. On the top floor of these floating platforms, they're the dairy cows, and they're milked, and they have they've got stalls, and they have waste products, and those waste products, the manure is going to soccer fields right across the way from the port of Rotterdam. And after the grass has grown up, it's fed right back to the cows. But in the same facility as these floating farm islands are, they've got facilities for making yogurt, for making cheese, for processing the yogurt and cheese, and at the lowest level, there's a shop to sell thousands of rounds of Gouda cheese and whatever other products they're making. It's a total circular industry. They're going to try it in Dubai. They're going to try it in Singapore. We haven't gotten there yet. The closest we got was a little bit of hydroponics right here in New York City. But we need to be able to think outside the box. We need to be disruptive. And in order to be disruptive, we got to have the education for Americans. We need everyone to know science and math, as well as art and architecture, and as well as technology. It's all necessary. To me, it was a crime not to build in that For the Families Act and not to give more money to education, and to see that so many states are still banning books, when that is the lifeblood of our society. You want to get out of jail free card? You want to be able to get out of poverty? We need an educated society. And now, more than ever, it's important. I can't think of anything more important than educating kids. And more than that, even educating adults so that they can be retrained for new jobs. We're talking about the Inflation Reduction Act bringing clean energy solutions right here to America because we want to be able to have the factories here. Well, if we have the factories here, I'd like to be able to staff it with Americans. And to do that, Americans have to know their sciences, the math, and the technology. We got to start young, and we got to continue. Education and learning never, ever stops. Never stopped for me. Every couple of years, when I was growing up and moving from one job to another, I didn't know anything about those industries that I went into. I came out a scientist. My first job, as you know, was with Ford Motor Company, where I became their expert in paint. My second job was with Pfizer Pharmaceuticals, where I headed up diagnostics, sterile products, warehousing. And my third job was with Bankers Trust, where I had 3 different divisions working for me. Did I know about banking policy? No, sir, I didn't, but I was able to create it. I was able to learn from what I had known before to figure out how to make people accountable. And that's what we need. We need folks to have analytical thinking. Can't just accept what people tell us. Can't listen to the naysayers and the people who are into conspiracy theories either. Because one thing about science, you can question it. And it's preferable that you do. It's preferable that you don't have a preconceived notion about what's the outcome. Because we really don't know. But it's better to be able to think on your feet like that so that we can disrupt the society that we're in. Just going along at an even keel, that's all well and good. But when I'm reading that climate change might be irreversible and that folks are now going to sue Coca-Cola because Coca-Cola has PFAS chemicals, those forever chemicals, which are able to exist because what they do is they disperse the oil that's made in plastics or in other containers or in fibers that are fire retardant. This is the tip of the iceberg. Coca-Cola and these forever chemicals are really there because we have a society that's based on fossil fuel production. Everything we do comes from fossil fuels. It's time we got back to basics. It's time to disrupt what's happening in our society. And to do that, we can't have people who only study philosophy or religion. We need to be able to study the sciences, the stuff that takes us to the moon, the stuff that makes it a giant step for mankind, not just one individual. That's what I'm talking about. And it's a revelation to me, though it shouldn't be, that many of our corporations are trying real hard to make sure it's not jobs for Americans that are going to the higher paid people. It's the lower paid jobs that are for us, and the other jobs are going to H-1B1 visas. Shame when we've got thousands of IT people right here in America who could make lives better for themselves and for the rest of us. It's no coincidence that the FAA went down and planes didn't fly. We haven't put money into any of these systems, and we really, really need to. So, look at your life, think what makes you happy. And if you're not really all that happy with yourself and your surroundings and your society, think, what would be a better way to go? How can we have more equal justice, more equal economics? There are a lot of things we can do. One is everyone from 30s and up should be running for government. We need to replace the politicians with folks who have more than political smarts and understand more than what the industries who fund them tell them they should be understanding. We can't afford the old ways anymore, folks. We gotta be able to be a little disruptive. We gotta be able to have that revelation in our head that says, yep, I want to do what my fathers said. They all said they wanted a better life for me, and I want a better life for my kids and my grandchildren. And then you got to think, how are you going to do it? To me, one way is education. The never-fail way of getting there is going with the STEM subjects. They're for everyone. Doesn't matter who you are, where you came from, whether you're a man or a woman. Science is for everyone. All you gotta do is be able to think about our problems and try the best you can to resolve them. And we can do it with a country that's committed to doing better. That's my revelation. Don't let the good-paying jobs go to H-1B1 visas. Let it go to Americans who are here. And for all of those people, the immigrants who have been here for 20, 30, 40 years, put them on the path to citizenship and let them come out of the shadows and be able to shine as well. And, by the way, I learned another interesting fact for the poor folks who are serving our food in all those restaurants and making our lives really happy. When they're doing it in order to get into the restaurant business, they pay $15 for a course that they must take in order to become part of the industry. That $15 is being used to lobby against increasing the minimum wage. Well, you can fool some of the folks some of the time, but the information comes out. And as far as I'm concerned, the more information that comes out, the better it is for you and me, because then we know what's really important in society. It's not the culture wars, it's us getting ahead and making a thriving, healthy middle class. So, God bless you, and I look forward to seeing you at least once in the next week. Bye now, and take care.